We're starting with a friend and a comrade of mine who has been involved in striking since December last year. She's in the RCN, and nurses, as you will have known, are striking for the first time in their history, and they've led a fantastic strike already. They've had massive picket lines and huge public support, and they're going to be out again on the 1st to the 3rd of March in an escalation of the strike. So please, with all your solidarity, give a round of applause to Ellen Grogan.
So, hello everyone, and it's absolutely fantastic to see such a good turnout tonight. It shows that resistance is growing, and as that lovely statue says in Parliament Square, courage calls to courage everywhere, and that is very true. Now, my name's Ellen Grogan, and I've been involved in the RCN strike since December. And I'm actually retired, but this is worth getting out of bed for. The suppression of nurses and nursing pay and the whole destruction of the NHS is something worth getting off the couch for. Now, just before I start, I'd like to extend a really warm welcome to Chris Smalls from New Jersey. For workers' rights internationally, which is what we need. I'd also like to welcome his Amazon colleagues to the resistance. We are behind them, we will be with you, and we are so pleased that you're taking the fight for workers' rights into a typically hostile, notoriously hostile to union environment of tech. So that's great. Now, as regards our own strike, what led nurses to strike? Well, I think most people know. Anyway, the 20% real terms pay cut over the past 12 years had quite a bit to do with it. So this led to nurses using food banks, and with the current energy crisis, cost of living crisis, nurses having to choose between heating and eating. But those are the reasons which is leading most of us to strike at the moment. So it's the assault, as Shabir said, by the Tory government with austerity and getting the poor to pay for everything. We're supposed to pay the bill for everything. So this is the main driver, but the other thing is the hemorrhaging of staff. The fact that we are absolutely, totally overwhelmed and worked to the bone because the NHS has been hemorrhaging staff with the lack of investment from the Tory government over the past 12 years. So at the moment we're 40,000 nurses short, and in the care sector 146,000 staff short. How can you possibly do a safe job? So we're striking because of that, and then at the same time, simultaneously, day in, day out, we watch government corruption and the way they've wasted money. For example, the 38 billion spent on this Blinken test and trace thing that should have saved so many lives in COVID, but they didn't get it up and running. They couldn't get it up and running. They gave this contract to some of their cronies. Then we see day in, day out as well, politicians being hardly held to account when their financial corruption is exposed, like Sadawi, who's head of the HMRC, the head of the taxman, and he himself was paying a tax bill of penalty of 3.7 million. So no wonder we'd strike, because this is all plain for us to see. Now, at any rate, how are we getting on? Well, not very well, because the government has basically treated us with contempt in refusing to sit down and talk about pay at all, in any way, shape or form. But in actual fact, they're exposing their real agenda by doing this. Now, if you look at it, the ambulance strikes, the physio strikes, other NHS strikes, they could all have been settled in a week, but they weren't. So, because the government made a political choice not to settle. So why could this possibly be? I think if you look at what the government have been doing over the past few years, it's clear. from back into the 80s, from the 80s and up until today, they've been paving the way for privatisation, because the NHS is the last juicy institution they can sell off for juicy contracts to line their pockets, because you know what, the workers know enough is enough, but the mega rich never seem to know when enough is enough, when they have enough. So this has been the response. So basically what they're doing is they're leveraging the NHS strikes in order to expedite the demise of the NHS. That's what they want. It's clear as day. So we must resist. So where is our resistance? It has to be with the unions and collaboration, and we've had huge support from so many different unions coming to all our pickets and helping us with prep and stuff like that. It has really been invaluable, and it's given us a sense of camaraderie and the fact that we are in this together. We're all fighting for our lives. Now, I don't want to go on too long. Just one thing I need to mention, and if I don't, I'll be strung up, is there's a very important Save Our NHS March on the 11th of March. Now, it's nationwide, so wherever people live, they can go. Now, the aim of this march is to give the people a message, because the public have always supported the NHS, because they know they don't want to end up like the States, where you lose your house or where you die on the streets if you don't have money for healthcare for chronic conditions. So they know what's going on. But we need to give a message, we need to compound that message to the public, that the NHS does not belong to the government. The NHS does not belong to any private entity. The NHS belongs to the people. It's the people's NHS. And we want it back. So, my last message is that we should fight and build our unions, fight, and most importantly, fight together. Thank you.